could be with us today on what is truly a special occasion for us. It marks the culmination of 13 years of hard work, of setbacks and victories by many dedicated and talented people from all parts of the country. And as in all things that are truly rewarding or enriching, aging does make the difference. It adds that extra ingredient that takes it out of the ordinary and makes it something special. The contracts for this facility were signed September 22nd, 1976, with the Klein Iron and Steel Company for the fabrication and erection of the tower, and with RCA for the transmitter and antenna systems. Our target date for beginning operations was then set for September 1, 1977. The natural gas shortage, inclement weather, and mud especially, gave us some very anxious moments. But thanks to the extra effort of the many people involved, I'm proud to say we made it on schedule. We are most thankful for this major construction effort was completed without a single injury. Now, this is not the normal 9 feet long and weighs 7 tons. I think several people are due special recognition for their works and efforts. I would like to compliment and thank Joe compiling all the technical data, putting it together in a 27-page report called the FCC Form 302. They granted our program test authority the next Friday. Unusual for the FCC to operate that quickly. We do it. Not everyone could participate directly in the construction and in the installation of the transmitter and antenna. But the underbrush, tramp through the mud, run into some very interesting little critters, and has walked virtually all 120 acres of this site. And for his extra under conditions that are less than ideal, and then Monday he has to live with that decision. And would you please stand? 3 years. But I really got to know Dick in the last couple of months, I think, exceedingly well. And
Gentlemen, may I add my expression of appreciation to all of you for being here today. You honor us in WSFA, and we are extremely grateful to you for being here with us on this occasion. Most of you are familiar with the history of this project, and many of you, nearly all of you, were directly involved in it. But for those few who are not aware, and as a review for the rest of us, I'd like to take just a minute to recap the history of this project. It was in September 1964, 13 years ago, that the firm of Lonis and Culver performed a study for our company, which concluded that it would be advantageous for WSFA TV to move its transmitter and increase its antenna height. That study was done by Mr. George Lonis, and we're extremely happy that he's among those present here this afternoon. One item of possible interest in that report is a section outlining the estimated cost of doing this as $726,000. This tower is 65 feet taller than the one then proposed. It's 13 years later, and as our board of directors knows, the cost was substantially more than $726,000. It was well in excess of $2 million. Perhaps towers, like fine wine, grow better with age. And on October 11, 1965, the application was filed, 1965. The site proposed in that original application was somewhat east of here at a place called Union Springs. Because of complications with the Columbus market and some potential loss of service in the areas west of Montgomery, the decision was made to seek out a better site, the FCC's decision. However, prudence dictated that we wait until all possible obstacles were cleared, and when our opponents failed to file further appeal to the Supreme Court in 1976, the long battle which Dow, Lonis, and Albertson waged for us was ended. And again, we are so happy to have the senior partner of that Washington law firm, Bill Sims, and the attorney who handles the Cosmos account, Dick Swift, both with us to celebrate the end of that long and historical legal struggle.
It is my privilege in a minute to introduce to you Dick Shafto, to whom this facility is to be dedicated. And in thinking about it, when Charlie asked me if I would handle this assignment, I had to think. I've done lots of things with Dick Shafto. I've done lots of things for him, done a few things to him, but this is the first time I've ever introduced him, so Dick will have to be good. Let me say, first of all, what a pleasure it is for us to be here to take a hand in this dedication. It's rather significant and I think highly appropriate, and it's a date that Charles did not mention to you, and that is that this marks the anniversary of our coming into Montgomery with the acquisition of WFSA. Well, it was on September the 2nd, 1959, that the FCC approved the transfer of the license of WFSA to then Broadcasting Company of the South. So it's been a happy period of time for us. We now embark on our 19th year of service. We have enjoyed the association in Montgomery, both the people in the station, the people we've grown to know so well and to work with, as well as the people of the community.
And very grateful for the recognition you give me. Francis has done many things for me, but this is the first time he's given me $2 million. What has been accomplished by Charlie Batson, by Tom Josephson, Dick Payne, their legal and engineering counsel, and the many professional and talented people of WSFA and of Cosmos. As you've heard, for more than a decade, you have carried on the persuasive campaign that has brought this tower into being. We stand in amazement at the base of a structure that is 200 feet higher than the tip of the TV antenna atop the world's tallest building in Chicago. I would ask that you dwell with me for a moment on the significance of this tower and this facility to Montgomery and to Alabama. Alabama has many resources. Some are natural, like Tallapoosa and the Alabama rivers and the fertile soil, which makes Montgomery the center of a vast pasture land. Other resources are man-made, like Lake Mitchell, Lake Jordan, and Lake Martin. The presence in Montgomery of the state capitol, Maxwell Air Force Base, and other institutions contribute enormously and permanently to Montgomery's well-being. As you contemplate these resources, and many more which each of you can name, I ask you to think of this tower as an active symbol of a permanent natural resource belonging to the people of Alabama. TV Channel 12 was awarded to you by congressional and judiciary decisions. There has been entrusted to this wide-range VHF facility the responsibility to convey to an area some 80 miles or more surrounding Montgomery the educational, entertainment, cultural, and news activities which mold the thinking and buying habits of more than 1 million people, of Montgomery as a distribution center. Sky High 12 is a facility which belongs to Montgomery as much as does the Capitol building. The viewer and advertiser support for WSFA TV justify the cost of creating this new station, which is more powerful than those serving many of the nation's largest cities. I'm extremely happy to see this vision of 13 years become a reality, and I recognize and thank the supporters among the civic and viewer communities, and the newspapers, which helped so much to make a persuasive and successful case for retaining Channel 12 in Montgomery when its removal was threatened by de-intermixture. They have helped in obtaining the grant from the FCC, which took these several years, which, as you know, has made the structure possible. I predict that you will enjoy its benefits for untold decades. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shefto.
And to bring the greetings and congratulations of all my associates at NBC, who, as Tom said, have been associated with WSFA from the beginning. You've always stood tall in Montgomery and surrounding area. You've always been first in the homes and in the hearts of television viewers in this great and growing region. And now you'll stand taller and
as a member of the Armed Services Committee, and I turned on the television to the Today program, and there I got hit in the face with Montgomery, Alabama. And there it was announced, and this is one of the few times I can remember, all deference to the media intended, where it was all plus and nothing derogatory about Montgomery, Alabama. But they mentioned the fact that today WSFA would go to a 2,000-foot tower and would in fact stand tall. And I was very pleased that the people in San Diego and the people all over this great country of ours was made aware of us and our achievements here and the impact that television makes on our community and on our culture. You know, as a member of the Armed Services Committee, I travel a lot. It's part of my job, regardless of what some critics might say. I have to do it. I was in South America on one occasion, and in Rio or whatever the city or the largest cities you go to, you see these shanty towns. They call barrios or barriatos, depending on which country you're in. And in inquiring about what brings these people to town, why are these shanty towns growing up the side of the mountain? They start out as straw, and then they get to be tin, and then they improve them by making them adobe brick, and they become permanent structures. And you find out it was an interesting thing. The reason, the biggest one factor that brings these people from the hinterlands, the uneducated, the impoverished, brings them to town, and they said don't feel sorry for them because they are living better than they've ever lived before, was radio, the transistor radio. They could hear for $6, $3, whatever. They had radios, and they could hear that there was something outside of their own existence, outside of their own village, and there was something better. And they drifted toward these places that emanated the communication. And it was a big thing, and this was the impelling force that caused people in the exchange of ideas and information, and to make them aware that there is something bigger and better, and that there's another way of life, that brought them to town. 6 weeks ago, I was honored to be the Speaker for the United States at the American Anti-Communist World Union in Taipei. We went to one of the islands off of Taipei that was in the news very much a few years ago, because it's only 3,000 yards from mainland China. And until you get away from the country and can look back objectively, you really don't get a real feel for it and a full appreciation. Now, I've been in the Congress, this is my 13th year. I would say that there's no factor more important to me as a representative of the people in communicating both ways than television, whether we're talking about just the simple communication or running for election. And I will say in all honesty, Tom, that I know of no segment of the industry, the media in general, that is as objective and has been as fair to me in my candidacy and others, as far as I can tell, as Channel 12. I've never received anything but what I thought was a very fair treatment. I'm most beholden and most appreciative, and I'd like to pay my respects in that regard at this time. So it's a very real pleasure for me to be here today to participate in this dedication service, because I can assure you that I have a very deep appreciation of the significance of communication, of television, and its impact and significance to those of us who live within this area of influence. And you and Cosmos and your entire company, as well as the network, will be complimented, and I want you to know that we are very pleased and proud to have you expand your area of influence here in Montgomery. And I think our mayor is going to follow and tell you the same.
To be here and congratulate you on this worthy achievement. Those of us in public life, especially mindful, as Congressman Dickinson just pointed out, the impact that communication has both ways on our citizens. And I would like to reiterate what he said also in the fairness and objectivity of Channel 12, Tom. I have had nothing but the fairest of treatment. Great job.
Got it?
Both ends of the room. There are two bars, one big one down here at this other end, so you might want to move on in, and there's plenty of food to eat, so please enjoy yourself.
I told him, writing my name wasn't a problem.
We'll be making the switch to the new 2,000-foot tall tower. We'll be asking that you all watch the sets. We'll turn them up, and you can still get your drinks and enjoy yourselves. We'll have a presentation at about 6:30 this evening, but right now we'd like you to watch. Can we please have your attention to the TV sets? Please watch the television sets.
Now with tonight's news, Bob Howell. Good evening. After 13 years of preparation, planning, and construction, WSFA TV Tall Tower is ready. Tonight we want to share the beginning of this new era with all of you in 12 country. This Tall Tower project represents one of the most modern technical facilities in the world. Herman E. Glick, president of the Liberty Corporation, the parent company of Cosmos Broadcasting. Charles Batson, president of Cosmos Broadcasting Corporation, licensee of WSFA TV. Vice President and General Manager of WSFA to cover a greater area and improve fixture quality in the area we currently serve. In addition to the tower, are you ready, Mount Carmel? Ready at the Mount Carmel site, Chief. Charlie, are you ready at the Grady site? The Grady site is ready to go, Chief. Okay. 10 seconds and down now. And then striking day.
We're now looking at a new 2,000-foot tower from our Grady, Alabama site. I might say also that the television sets you've been viewing will be given away as door prizes later in the evening. Please go back to the bar and the...
And that's Dan Atkinson. By golly, he's a pretty good weatherman, I'll tell you. We've been doing an awful lot of talking to a lot of people that had some influence on the weather, and I think we hit the right people. So, thank you very much for coming, and all I have to say is, it works. It works. Governor Wallace, distinguished guests, welcome to 12th Country. Today is a special day for all of us at WSFA. When a project of this size and scope is planned and projections made, one thinks one has some idea of what it's all about. But until one gets into it, there is really no way of knowing what it is all about. But anyway, the tall tower is finally a reality, and we're delighted so many of our friends, our business associates, and colleagues could be here tonight to share this great occasion with us. This afternoon, we dedicated the tower and transmitting facilities in honor of our first president of Cosmos Broadcasting Corporation. G. Richard Shafto was president when our company purchased WSFA in September 1959. In 1964, Mr. Shafto commissioned the engineering firm of Lonis and Culver to study the feasibility of building a tall tower. Mr. and Mrs. Shafto are with us tonight, and I would like to have them stand and welcome to Montgomery and to your transmitting facility. Where are you, Mr. Shafto? And from the Liberty Corporation of Greenville, South Carolina, our parent company, it is a great pleasure to introduce Mr. Francis Hipp, chairman of the board, right in this area, I believe. There you are. And a new star to WSFA, Mr. Herman Hipp, the president of the Liberty Mac. I don't see you. There you are. Representing the NBC television network, Mr. Don Mercer, vice president. And a very special guest, Mr. Lloyd Dobbins of NBC News and Weekend. Lloyd, please stand up. Now, this is how we treat our guests. We're going to have a drawing for some door prizes at the end of our commercial. And we invite an impartial guest, such as Lloyd Dobbins, objective, fair, honest newsman, to make the drawing. So if you have any complaints, address them to Dick Wald, President, NBC News. Right? Also with us tonight, Mr. Byron Fincher, representing RCA Broadcast Systems, who manufactured the transmitter and antenna system. And I'd like to also express our thanks to Klein Iron and Steel Company, who fabricated the tower at less cost per pound than a pound of coffee, whichever that means. Mr. Taylor Dawson of Andrew and Dawson, our general contractors who built the transmitter building. Mr. Frank McCorkle of Stewart McCorkle, our general contractor who poured the foundations that keep that 2,000-foot tower standing straight up in the air. And our architects Sherlock, Smith, and Adams, and the Beaufort Equipment Company for that beautiful piece of equipment, that emergency generating equipment. It's marvelous. And is Mr. Jimmy King in the audience tonight? Jimmy, stand up. You may have seen this man on television. He was the one that was riding the steel ball going up about 1,200 feet in the air. Jimmy is a very shy, retiring individual, we found out during the construction of our tower. But this man and his fine crew completed this, and this is not a normal 9-to-5 type job when you're working at 1,800 feet in the air. He completed this job on schedule and without a single injury, which we are all thankful for. And thank you, Jimmy, for such a fine job. That tower was put together in 30-foot sections and to get to the 1,935 feet. And especially to the WSFA Technical Department, Dean Roche, our Assistant Chief Engineer. I don't know if Dean is here tonight or not. There he is, right over there. Carl Bonner, our Maintenance Supervisor, and Charles Haston, who could not be here tonight because he's down at the new site making sure that we're on the air. They put it all together and made it work tonight. And especially to our Chief Engineer, Dick Payne. Dick, where are you? Right over here. Stand up, Dick. Dick, a beautiful job. He put our original transmitter and antenna on the air in 1954, and by golly, he did it again tonight. And a more dedicated and hard-working group of people I am so proud to be associated with. Needless to say, I've spent many long hours thinking about what one should say at an occasion like this. I researched Greek philosophers, the greatest writers and speechmakers in the world, Winston Churchill, FDR, and so on. And I finally came upon one of the greatest speechmakers in America, Yogi Berra of the New York Yankees. And I think that what he spoke is appropriate for tonight's occasion. He said, "Thank you for making this occasion necessary." Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Without your support, it could never have been done. It gives me a great pleasure now to introduce the governor of the state of Alabama, George C. Wallace.
Well, Tom, thank you very much. Of course, I want to join with you and welcome all of those you've already introduced who are from without the state and who've come to Alabama. And join with you in this milestone with WSFA. I remember many years ago that I had the pleasure of being on the first color TV broadcast from the station. And I know that there are going to be more hearers and listeners. I saw my good friend Alvin Holmes a moment ago out there, and of course both of us are very interested in coming because now, Alvin, me and you can be heard by more folks in more places now than we used to be. So, and of course the tower naturally makes it possible for that. And I told Tom that I certainly hope that it's out of the path of the state airplanes when they come in. I'm sure that'll be the case. But I have a proclamation here, and I think maybe WSFA has been the only station in which we've declared a month for. Sometimes we declare weeks for things, but this is a month. Whereas WSFA TV Channel 12 in Montgomery, Alabama has over a period of almost a quarter of a century furnished thousands of television viewers in Alabama superior news, sports, and weather coverage, comprehensive community and public service broadcast and programming from NBC Television Network. And whereas WSFA TV has over the years established and maintained a highly professional news staff which has covered Alabama news and other events from the state capital with dedication, fairness, objectivity, and journalistic integrity. Be sure you keep that up. And where WSFA TV has, in the month of September 1977, completed construction of the G. Richard Shafto transmitting facility, consisting of a new transmitter, antenna, and tower, which is the tallest man-made structure in the state of Alabama, to expand and enhance the coverage area by the station, thus providing its quality television service to many more viewers in Alabama, Florida, and Georgia. And now therefore I, George Wallace, governor of the state, do hereby proclaim the month of September 1977 as WSFA TV month in Alabama. Congratulations, Tom and WSFA.
Now I know what Tom Snyder has gone up against. Thank you very much, Governor. I think about everybody now in this part of the world has some idea of what our project has been. We have been talking about it on our own television station, radio, newspapers, everything that we could find to advertise it. So I'm sure now that everybody understands exactly what we have been doing and what we will be doing.
What's all this fuss I keep hearing about small shops?